$1,500 a day. We were just chatting, and I was thinking, okay, Tim, you cannot have been going for more than a couple of years. Okay, I'm going to throw out 6 years for how long it's been out. And 6 years was right. So, yeah, I can't believe it's been that long, but congrats on enjoying retirement. I see you very active out there in the field still, though, so like a lot of us, well, not me yet, but at some point I'll retire, but people, they don't stop. They have me going across the work they're doing, so. Yes, sir, Tim says too type A, but that's a good thing, you know, you're doing good things for people out there, and it always works. It's nice to see Diane Craft over here as well. You're doing, coming back as well, outstanding. And it's great to see everyone here on a cold, I'm going to say maybe 12 or 13 degree day. But with that, I am going to turn the mic over to Professor Jim Landis, who have a few words to say about this morning's proceedings. Thank you, sir.
Many of you know Jim, but I bet you don't know all that he has accomplished. We value that he's not here during his time at MCC. We're going to place this picture, as you see here, of Jim underneath. It's going to be a name. We have two dates: 1976-2010. 34 years of service. That's what most people outside of this room will recognize. 34 years of service. But that's not what is most important. What I want to talk about is that dash and what that represents. In the 7 years I've worked with him, first of all, this is the first time I've seen him in a suit. It's an existential experience. I've since learned that he's had the tie and suit on 3 or 4 times since 1976. Yeah. So anyway, a friend of mine told me that if you want people to remember what you say, you tell them a story. So I'd like to tell you a story about that dash between those two dates and put some context around it. It's a story about a young man from the greater Detroit area who went to college at Western, majored in psychology, got a bachelor's and later a master's degree. And in 1975, he had a problem to solve, and he turned to technology to solve it. He created and implemented a faculty rating system, an evaluation system that professors at Western used to evaluate the faculty. 1975. Really think about that for a minute. 1975, that was the year the first Apple computer was put onto the market. It was a wooden box. Only 500 of them sold. The main people in data processing at that time used computers with punch cards and punch tapes, and there were no monitors. This is what Tim did, which is pretty amazing. Shortly thereafter, he came, looked for work, found a home here at Mesquite Community College, where he took over the Data Processing Center. In the context of that, and context is everything, Tim did remarkable work. I'm going to give you some bullet points talking about just the highlights of what has happened during that dash. Starting in 1988, he served almost 20 years as the Computer Information Systems Coordinator. In 1989, he completed his doctorate in psychology from Kansas. He was a guest instructor off and on at the National Computer Education Institute for 8 of those years, between 83 and 96. He authored or co-authored 18 published books, 18, you heard me right, some of which were translated to Chinese, Korean, Italian, and Turkish. He authored or co-authored 13 articles in national and regional publications. He presented 20 papers and was guest speaker at academic conferences around the nation. He held in West Michigan over 40 seminars in technology, teaching people and businesses how better to use computers in their day-to-day lives. In 1984, he did something quite remarkable. he invented and implemented the first, and I think only, telecourse, an actual class that was over the telephone.
Television.
And television. He taught basic programming from a series of articles he published in the Muskegon Chronicle, because there was no textbooks available. 1990-91, Outstanding Faculty Award, and 2008, he developed the Interactive Meeting Game Design Program, which won an Innovation Award from the Liberal Arts Network for Development. And in 2009, he spearheaded the culture of entrepreneurship here at Muskegon Community College. It's still alive and thriving today. So those are the bullet points. Those are the things that are measurable and identifiable as accomplishments. And I asked myself and him, how did he do that? And he's not shy in telling me. He tricks himself into using behavior-based reward mechanisms. You do that by doing 30 minutes of something you don't like, followed by 10 minutes of something you love. The trick he taught me early on of how to basically be effective. He is the champion of the power nap, a 20-minute reprieve that enables peak performances for those 16-hour-a-day marathons that he still uses to this day. I know. He tells me about it a lot. And those who know him well know to watch for that sparkle in his eye and that quirky smile that means a healthy debate is brewing. We know that well. But in terms of context, as a person, Tim Trainor lives in a world of possibilities. He lives in that white space between what is and what could be. And he brings that future possibility to life through a career teaching others how to use technology to reach those visions. And you would think after all of that, when he would retire, he'd settle down to a life of travel and relaxation. I think he can. Tim now serves as Chief Operating Officer for Darien LLC, a technology startup here in West Michigan, and works just as hard, if not harder than he did for all those years here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you Dr. Tim Trainor.
Well, first of all, a couple comments to that. It's called the PREMAC principle, where you use a preferred activity to reinforce a less preferred activity. Very powerful. I recommend it. And, an hour on a comment like this gives you pause, of course, to kind of think back at what got you here. And I have to say, before I go on, getting my technology, I got to turn on my clicker. First slide here, 1979. This place is where I was nurtured and grew. This place provided me with a collaborative environment that all those things that Jim talked about happen. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens with the faculty and staff that I had lunch with, that I talked with between breaks, and the whole thing. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of images from those times, but this one I get a kick out of from 1979. You'll see Diane hugging Lee Calais in one corner, and I'm up in the other.
We weren't married yet.
But when I thought about what I needed to say today, it's really thank yous. So I want to start with thanking Frank Marzak and Teresa Sturz, because they set the table to allow things to happen, and were supportive and allowed me to move forward on things. If you don't have people supporting you at the highest levels, things don't get done. You just hole up in your office and you do what you got to do. But that wasn't the case here. For all 34 years I was here. So Jim hit up on this. I came in with punch cards, left with web pages, right? And I dug this old photo out. This is an original selfie of mine. One Saturday, when I was working with a UNIVAC 9030, running the punch cards through, trying to get myself oriented. And so, unlike selfies today, I had to set up a tripod right and put the camera on a timer mode and scurry over to get this picture taken. But that was my life back then, And it's amazing to think that, this thing's less powerful than a computer on my desk right now, right? But also, I had the key to the place, walked in, booted it up. And one thing about booting up or loading or whatever the case is. So I'm sure that was the catalyst behind this photo. While Bayfield seemed to boot up, I took the selfie. So, as I said, my time on campus was wonderful for myself. And part of the level of support I had were all the different department chair people that I've worked with. Larry Swisher here, thank you. Very smart. Dave Strudel, the last, thank you. And some of the, I must get you back. Dan Miles is down in South Carolina in the warm weather, though I think there's some snow coming his way. So again, thank you to all these people. They again set the table for many of those accomplishments of mine. And the thing about technology is you can't rest on your laurels. You can't brush off your notes from college and then use those for 20 years. You're always playing the game of keeping yourself up to date, right? And keeping the software that you know understandable to your students and yourself, making sure your computers work. And so people always ask me now, well, are you running the latest? No, I'm on Windows 7. For the first time in 34 years, I haven't had to keep up with the latest upgrade, and I'm not going there right now. If it works, leave it alone, But again, a lot of support people here. Mike Ahlstrom is still here, very supportive, always has been supportive. Dave Seith, this person in place, is down in Florida, last I heard. All these people, again, set the table for providing you with the tools and the upgrades that I needed to do my job. How many of these people? Lou Mish used to be our photography, jack of all trades guy. Don Bogema was my host on the telecourse I did. So again, a lot of support for years. There is a joy of teaching, and one of the things I like about computers is you can always justify the skills that you teach people, right? But this one always puts a smile on my face because I taught Photoshop, right, and how to Photoshop stuff. And so as a joke, I had a student send me this in an email right after the class where they Photoshopped my head. I think Wild Hogs is the movie that this was. Pretty darn good job, eh? And so this is where I went out into my peers in the department. Shar, Greg Miller, who just retired. Harry Brown, who was my office mate. Again, set the table for interesting conversations and just, the sharing of ideas is so important. And that brings me to Jeff Snipes, who was a co-author. Jeff was actually originally going to do the introduction to me, and unfortunately his wife got sick Tuesday, and Jim, thank you, he came out of the clutch to do the introduction to me. But he was, we were always chit-chatting about new things, and through Jeff, we wrote several books. Those Oklahoma presentations, he was working with me quite often on those. And I have to give him credit for the program that Jim now heads. The gaming program was concocted with Jeff and I sitting in my office several years ago. And so he's been instrumental through a lot of things I've done, and I wanted to give him a big thank you. And now I'm moving with Darian. This is keeping, as I said, I'm too tight day to be eating bonbons and much to Diane's chagrin, because we probably could have had a couple more trips, but we've been to Machu Picchu and Galapagos last year. We've gotten around, so we're not suffering at all. But many thanks to Jim for the presentation today, but also keeping me busy, probably more busy than I really need to be, but it's fun. Tons of fun. And I'm working with young people still. So it's very interesting that these young people that I was working with as a teacher now are working with us on this game development, and we're portfolio building with them, and it's really exciting. And what I know now of these people as they try to go into the business world probably would have had me teach my classes a little bit differently, because they're ill prepared to actually present themselves to businesses and to understand that they go the next yard and pays off. Now, one last thing is, thank you, Diane, my navigator, right, my copy editor, my wife, my best friend. And she's been supportive. Certainly, we couldn't have done everything we did without the team. So thank you very much for being here, folks.
is my pleasure as president of the Muskegon Community College Faculty Association to award the Distinguished Faculty Award to Dr. Tim Trainor. Congratulations, Tim. And now, please join us for lunch.